morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Welcome to Weather HQ on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Today's headlines. Pag-asa says southwest monsoon continues to affect Luzon and may dump rains in the region. The Weather Bureau advises the public to take precautionary measures on possible flash floods and landslides. We'll have more details on that later on in the show. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, reports increased activity in Kanlaon Volcano. PHIVOLCS explains the Kanlaon Volcano network reported several volcano tectonic earthquakes generated by rock fracturing processes, and this may precede eruptive activity. Meantime, in Batangas, a volcanic smog was sighted in Taal Volcano. We'll speak with PHIVOLCS about its possible effects. And we'll take a look at the conservation efforts for the Upper Marikina Watershed. This aims to also help ease flooding in Metro Manila. Let's get an update on Kanlaon and Taal Volcanoes. We have on the phone PHIVOLCS Chief of Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division, Maria Antonia Borenas. Ms. Mariton, maraming salamat. Good morning.
Hello, yes, good morning po. Good morning po sa inyong lahat.
Ms. Mariton, let's start off first with the Mount Kanlaon in Negros, Alert Level 2. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng Alert Level 2?
Sa ngayon po, meron po tayong nare-record na. Ang Alert Level 2 po is elevated or moderately elevated level of unrest or increased unrest, no? So, meron po tayong mga nare-record na VT earthquakes, volcano tectonic earthquakes, mula pa po kahapon. Kaya po tayo ay nagpalabas ng advisory. We released an advisory last night because since 10:30 last night, the VT earthquakes were becoming more frequent and stronger.
Ms. Mariton, does this mean there's a possible eruption sa Kanlaon?
Yes, we already released the advisory stating that if the VT earthquake swarms can progress into eruptive unrest. No? That's why we already have alerted the local government units to be prepared for potential eruption and therefore for evacuation.
Ms. Mariton, one of the hazards is going to be ashfall, considering the area in particular. Ma'am, what can residents do to protect themselves from these volcanic hazards?
Actually, the principal volcanic hazard from any eruptive activity are pyroclastic density currents. These are the mixtures of volcanic ash, hot gas, and fragmented volcanic rock that rush down the volcanic slopes. Now, this is the principal volcanic hazard, and that's why we have the 4-kilometer permanent danger zone. If we have eruptive activity, we are increasing that area so that the people can be evacuated safely out of the way. And then, if necessary, if the eruption actually becomes more explosive, then we actually recommend an increase in the areas of evacuation and a potential step up to alert level 4 or from alert level 3 to alert level 4. So the ashfall is actually a secondary volcanic hazard. It's not as dangerous as pyroclastic density currents or PDCs. No? So ashfall can also be generated and based on yung prevailing wind can be drifted either to the southwest or to the general east of the volcano.
Thank you very much for that po. Ms. Mariton, we're now going to move on to Batangas, where a volcanic fog was reported from Taal Volcano today, or rather a volcanic smog or VOG. You talk about yung harmful effects po ng VOG. Can you also give us an update on what areas in particular would be affected?
Right now, we are not actually recording any VOG. No? Right now, Taal is actually quiet. Medyo the sulfur dioxide emission has actually decreased in the past week, no? And the reason why we've had occasional VOG over the volcano is because the wind speeds are very low, no? But so nag-accumulate yung sulfur dioxide na matagal nang binubuga na since 2021 instead of being dissipated by the winds, no? So right now, I think the wind has died down, so medyo may konting pag-collect ng VOG. But what happened like yesterday was that when the wind actually picked up in the afternoon, no, so na-dissipate naman yung VOG.
Ms. Mariton, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for all the clarification. We hope to speak to you next time. That was Mariton Borenas from PHIVOLCS. Now let's take a look at the latest forecast from Pag-asa. The southwest monsoon continues to affect Luzon, while residents of the Ilocos region and Zambales, Apayao will encounter cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms, which may lead to potential flooding and landslides. As you can see here, the southwest monsoon coming right up and of course affecting the Luzon area, and particularly the northern parts of the Philippines. Now moving off here in Metro Manila though, and the rest of Luzon, you can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. That's what's expected there. Now, as we mentioned a while ago, please take precautionary measures because flash floods and landslides are possible during the severe thunderstorms. Now, for the rest of the country, specifically in Visayas and Mindanao, watch out of severe localized thunderstorms that may cause flooding as well, especially here, as we mentioned a while ago, the southern parts of the country. Now let's take a look at the weather conditions in selected provinces and key cities in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Of course, we're going to start off first. A while ago, we mentioned how in the northern part of the Philippines, there will be a bit of wet weather here, starting off Luwag to Gagarao and Baguio in particular, as well as Olongapo. Because the southwest monsoon climbing up, there is going to be a bit of a wet weather in these particular areas. As we mentioned in Metro Manila, Legazpi, and in Puerto Princesa right over here, the weather will be a bit better. Tagaytay City as well, you have to take a look at the situation there. It looks like the weather is going to be cooperative. Now, we mentioned a while ago that the weather around those areas are going to be okay. We mentioned that mothers sending their kids to school should have protective gears for their children ready because there will be an 80% chance of rain. In Puerto Princesa, generally fair weather conditions is expected with a range of temperatures from 25 to 32 degrees Celsius as indicated right over here. Now let's move on to Visayas. Most parts of the region will experience generally cold or generally fair weather rather, especially in Bacolod, Iloilo, and Tacloban. Now, as you can see here, Tacloban, Iloilo, as well as Metro Cebu will have similar weather, but you should also be prepared for afternoon thunderstorms. Over in Mindanao, let's take a look at this. Expect fair weather in Cagayan de Oro, Metro Davao, and Zamboanga. And the temperatures may reach up to 33 degrees Celsius in Metro Davao and Zamboanga with low chances of rain. So wear sunblock, bring your umbrella, protect your skin from the heat. No one likes to get burned on days like this. Let's take a look at the weather for the rest of the work week. Here's a 3-day forecast from Pag-asa. Starting off in Metro Manila, until Friday, it is predicted to have partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers all throughout the week. 32 degrees is the highest temperature we could expect until Friday. So make sure you're prepared for that because there's also a 70 to 90% chance of rain starting tomorrow until Friday. Residents are advised to be prepared for potential rainfall and thunderstorms during this period. Over at the Queen City of the South, generally fair weather conditions are expected in Metro Cebu. However, the weather will deteriorate by Friday, as you can see over here, bringing cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms for residents. So make sure you plan for that eventuality. Weather will be fairly good from Wednesday, Thursday, but Friday, expect a bit of wet weather. Moving on to Metro Davao, same weather conditions could be expected for the next 2 days. And lucky for those working at home, as rain showers and thunderstorms are expected to prevail come Friday. Take a look at that here, very similar weather. Nothing much to worry about with regard to sudden weather changes. And of course, we'll see whether or not that will be the case up until Friday, unlike what we saw in Metro Cebu. Global weather comes after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Now let's go around the region, particularly the center of the Philippine archipelago, where we're going to take a look at Romblon Island in just a bit. Particularly Bonbon Beach, which boasts of stunning stretch of white sand, a sandbar, and clear waters. Taking advantage of good weather, Romblon is perfect for a casual hangout, romantic moment, or maybe just a refreshing tropical experience. Now, with that, let's take a look at the weather in Romblon. Now, weather conditions there are expected to be fairly favorable in Bonbon Beach and, of course, the surrounding regions. Of course, that is the weather. This Tuesday, let's take a look at what's happening here. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you can expect generally fair weather conditions here. Temperatures will rise up to around 32 degrees Celsius today in particular. Of course, gets a bit cooler up until Friday, but not that much. Perfect weather with regards to enjoying the beaches over in Romblon. Now, you can go ahead and plan your vacation there in this beautiful province. I know a few people there who would love to visit Romblon once again. For some of them, a bit of a homecoming. Now, let us now move on over and talk about the global weather. Pope Francis continues his tour around Southeast Asia. Right now, he is in Timor-Leste. Of course, this will take place over the next 2 weeks. This 45th apostolic journey takes him to Southeast Asia and Oceania over the next couple of weeks, as I mentioned yesterday. Arrived in East Timor to meet with the Catholic leaders and the faithful. This is the Pontiff's first 3-day visit to the 97% Catholic country. Last stop will be over in Singapore, where he will prioritize meeting with the elderly, sick, and the youth. Now, with that in mind, let us go visit East Timor and find out how the weather is doing there for the Pope. And at the moment, you take a look at the weather here, and the sun extends its greeting to the Pontiff. 32 degrees Celsius and clear weather, clear skies the entire week up until Friday. 32 degrees high in East Timor, but that will be very manageable for the Pontiff for sure. As we mentioned a while ago, this is going to be the type of weather that they can be expecting. Not a lot of changes, unlike what we're experiencing here in the Philippines, particularly in the northern side. Now, on Thursday, the Pope will be expected to arrive in Singapore, so let's take a look at the weather there. Now, in Singapore, particularly today, it's also sunny weather. But come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a bit of a different news here when it comes to the weather situation. Particularly over on Sunday, you can expect weather to be particularly wet there, and hopefully that will not affect the visit of the Pope come his trip to Singapore. Of course, we'll give you more updates on that later on. And to all of our Catholic brothers and sisters in Singapore, do enjoy the Pontiff's visit there. I know a few people, in fact, part of the show, who is excited to see Pope Francis should they be in Singapore very soon. Now, on that note, let's take a look at the weather around the Southeast Asian region. Over here, as you can see, there's going to be a bit of wet weather in Brunei, and in Indonesia, you're going to have fairly cloudy weather. Fairly good weather coming in Singapore and Malaysia. As we mentioned, Cambodia will be cloudy with clear skies with a bit of isolated rain showers. Not much problem there, but even with a bit of rain in Cambodia, the sun is definitely shining. Very hot temperatures over there. Moving on to Vietnam and Thailand. As you can see over here, Myanmar will have the wettest weather, while Laos will have cloudy skies, while Thailand and Vietnam, similar weathers and similar temperatures as well. Generally favorable though. So to all of our friends over in those regions, do enjoy your trip if you're there on vacation, and if you're there on business, well, I hope you get your deals done for sure. Now, as we look at what's happening around the region, we go on over to North America because we have a very familiar face over in New York. Now, Miss Pia Wurtzbach is there in New York enjoying New York Fashion Week. Just like the stunning model strutting down the catwalk, New York is expected to have lovely weather, as lovely as the former Miss Universe. Take a look at that. So 22 degrees a while ago, right before all those graphics went away, but you saw it there. 22 degrees in terms of the temperature happening in New York, USA, and this is the type of weather Ms. Pia Wurtzbach is now enjoying right over there. So temperature will be a bit chilly from time to time, but nothing that they can't handle. The heat from the catwalk will definitely be present. Now, at the moment, we would like to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to dive into the conservation efforts with regards to the Upper Marikina Watershed, a vital resource with regards to helping protect Metro Manila in terms of its battle against floods, and of course, still one of the last green corridors in the Metro Manila and the NCR region. Don't go away, you'll love hearing that. Hello, welcome back to Weather HQ. Here it's not just about current events, but also exploring the crucial issues impacting our planet today. Now we're focusing on the Upper Marikina Watershed, a vital resource that provides 80% of Metro Manila's water. Now joining us to discuss the conservation efforts and challenges facing this crucial area is Ms. Ana Reyes, the Secretariat of the Upper Marikina Watershed Coalition. Ana, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Paolo.
First of all, tell us more a bit about this coalition first, because if I'm not mistaken, ang dami ninyo.
Yes.
This is a coalition of so many groups dedicated to preserving this protected landscape.
Yes, so after Typhoon Ulysses in 2020, actually these organizations came together, and of course the imperative was to protect this area from further deforestation. Only 11% remains of this area na reforested or forested, and that's a very big blow when it comes to the mitigation of the climate crisis impact, especially in the Philippines and in Metro Manila. You will see it in the flooding, and forests in the Upper Marikina Watershed, as you said, is responsible for 80% of that. And if all of it or most of it is gone, then there's no floodwater mitigation. There are also no protection, diba? And 20 million Filipinos in the Metro Manila and low-lying areas, low-lying communities will be affected.
It is called the last green corridor of the east of Metro Manila. You take a look at the importance of this last green corridor. You mentioned yung water, water supply, but it's also there for flood mitigation.
Yes.
Na kailangan natin pag-usapan because of the recent habagat,
Yes.
recent Typhoon Karina. Just people were already saying it, grabe ang lala. Ang lala ng flood situation sa Metro Manila. How much worse would it have been had that not been there?
Yes, so there are two studies actually. There's the Manila Observatory study after the Ondoy in 2009, and also the World Bank study. So both studies tell you that actually if there was no reforestation or forest cover, this would be worse. This would be much worse because there will be no, not just the idea of trees holding water, but also holding soil, so the siltation, but also holding the waterways together. And where the World Bank study is telling you that ecosystem services are actually very crucial, not just to low-lying communities, but also in terms of services that it gives financially, because it provides for life-giving services. And for us to replace that with man-made services, for man-made ecosystem services, is billions of dollars. And this is natural. You don't have to spend anything. You just have to let nature take its place. And that's the problem, is that we do not see the invisible cost of deforestation.
You mentioned that it requires nature to take its place for it to work. Pero sa ngayon, na-mention mo nga 11% left in terms of forested land in the protected landscape. Question now is what type of human intervention is needed to ensure that that natural process actually works out?
It's really a matter of enforcement. We do have the environmental justice laws that are in our ENIPAS law, right? So there are already laws about it, but we just need the proper enforcement, and we need to be able to really protect our protected areas. So I know recently, or a few months ago, we've had, the Chocolate Hills issue, which brought about more attention to the protected areas, and that is a very rampant issue among the protected areas, ours included. The Upper Marikina is a protected area, and the problem is that there are so many conflicting permits and
Yeah.
tenurial instruments that are being issued without the proper study. And there are also, gaps in enforcement. Now, once they are identified as, illegal or non-compliant, they're not being, say, removed
Yeah.
from where they shouldn't have been in the first place. So that's really a matter of enforcement. And also, e-NIPAS is something that errs on the side of conservation, not on the side of utilization.
Yeah.
And that's a problem in so many endeavors in the protected area, is that it is being interpreted in favor of business or profit. So, for example, the special agreement for protected areas is also being used as a loophole for resource utilization, rather than it actually being a permit for, a very rare permit for something that is a sustainable development inside protected areas.
All right, I want to touch on a couple of things. First, I want to touch on the resort situation that you
Yes.
did mention a while ago. Naging viral nga yung resort sa Bohol,
Yes.
na nasa gitna ng Chocolate Hills, biglang may swimming pool at may slide.
Yes.
How big of that is that a problem sa Upper Marikina? Because based on the last reports I did see, siguro may mga 15, 16 give or take resorts there. Some have already closed. Ano yung sitwasyon ngayon?
Yes, so the number 15 is accurate. When the Chocolate Hills issue went viral, so we had around 10 before that, and then when it went viral, we monitored and we saw 15, like naging 15 na siya, lumobo pa siya, and one is being constructed and expanded. And sadly, that is a situation that that we've raised for years now. And one of the things that we've talked about before is how, sometimes they would say they're closed when they're being blasted on social media, but
Yeah.
on the ground they're operating. On the ground they're accepting, visitors, and on the ground they're expanding. So because they only lie low when there is social media presence or social media attention to them. But afterwards, what is good is that there was a checkpoint
Yeah.
that was established to help check if these people are going to these
mga
resorts.
resorts, yeah.
Yeah. So what we need is actually enforcement, and also the consistency of that enforcement. It's in it being sustained.
Yeah.
Kasi what happens is when it's gone, of course they're gonna come back.
Yeah.
So we need a decisive action, and not just band-aid solutions when it comes to these resorts.
Today, we have explored important aspects of the conservation efforts for the Upper Marikina Watershed, directly affecting our water security and flooding situation. But that's just part one of our discussion. Stay tuned as we continue to bring you climate and environmental stories that matter and drive change here on Weather HQ. But that's it for today. I'm Paolo del Rosario. We'll see you again tomorrow, or we'll be together, whatever the weather, here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.